Hey guys, and welcome to this short video on the Van Helsing reboot. So we're just going to quickly go through this Screen Rant article here that talks about the latest update of the Van Helsing reboot. I'm quite excited about this because the Van Helsing movie I think was really underrated and it was such an awesome movie. Whether they would get Hugh Jackman back or not, I'm not really sure. But anyway, we're going to dive into this article quickly. So Van Helsing reboot gets a new update from the director after 3 years of no development. Yeah, it's kind of been in like purgatory for the last 3 years. They say they're going to do it and then they don't do it, and there's not really been many updates and there's not much news about it. But the director has come out and made a comment. So, horror director Julius Avery, I hope I'm saying that right, offers a new update on his planned Van Helsing film after 3 years of no development or the forthcoming reboot. Obviously, there's Hugh Jackman there. He played Van Helsing. Director Julius Avery has given an update on his planned Van Helsing reboot following 3 years of no development on the project. Avery is known for his work in horror, including the 2018 alternative history horror movie Overlord. Overlord was so good. If you guys haven't seen it, I would definitely check it out. Go on YouTube, have a look at the trailer. So Overlord, it's a World War II, I believe it's World War II. A bunch of Americans land in a war zone and they discover a lab and it's kind of full of zombies and stuff. It's kind of like Call of Duty Zombies almost. Check it out if you haven't seen it, guys. As well as The Pope's Exorcist, which was released in April of 2023. In 2020, Avery became attached to the Van Helsing reboot alongside fellow horror director James Wan. Anything that James Wan horror-wise is attached to, it's going to be good. He's a bit of a legend, a bit of an icon in the horror kind of genre. Now, speaking with Fangoria, Avery reveals that his planned Van Helsing movie is still in the works despite 3 years without development. The director explains that Wan is still attached to produce the film and the famed Vampire Slayer, which he is in the process of writing. Check out Avery's full statement below. So we're just going to check out what he said about the update on the movie. I mentioned James Wan before, and I'm a huge fan of his. I've been wanting to work with him for a while. He's a fellow Aussie, and yeah, we've teamed up on the Van Helsing movie together, which I'm currently writing and intend to direct myself with James producing. But yeah, that's still in motion. I can't tell you much more than that, but I'm very, very excited. Alright guys, so let's go further down. What to expect from Julius Avery. Sorry again guys, I'm probably butchering his name. I'm not sure. I'm guessing it's Avery's. What to expect from Julius Avery's Van Helsing. Okay, beyond Avery's involvement in the film, not much is known about this planned Van Helsing reboot. The new film is set in Universal Dark Universe. That's quite cool, because obviously their Dark Universe didn't go so well. They did the first Mummy movie, and they were going to branch it off into a massive Dark Universe, but it kind of didn't work out so well. But was planning in the stages of 2017, the Wrath of the Titans writer Dan Mazu given the reins. However, by 2019, Universal had cancelled the Dark Universe, which is what I was just saying, eventually axing Mazu's version of Van Helsing as well, which is a shame. I would like to have seen how that Van Helsing turned out, but Avery's dedication to making horror films rooted in supernatural makes him a quintessential writer for Van Helsing reboot. Yeah, I think he'd be quite good at doing this. He's a good horror filmmaker, and I'd love to see what he does with his Van Helsing reboot, especially with James Wan on board as well. A reboot for the famed vampire hunter also hints at the possibility of Dracula appearing. I think that's kind of a must. He appeared in the last film, and he was pretty cool in that film actually. Seeing the longtime foes face off again. This can firmly establish them as enemies, while also painting Van Helsing as a heroic figure, taking on the most famed vampire from Transylvania. However, given how rooted Van Helsing is in the Dracula lore, a reboot may also steer away from the character of Dracula and instead tell a new story about Van Helsing. Yeah, I mean, they could. I mean, the Dark Universe has got loads of monsters. You've got werewolves, vampires, demons, all kinds of mythological monsters you could have him fighting. But I think Dracula's a pretty cool one. If you want to reboot, I mean, going up against the most famous foe of Van Helsing, I mean, you can't go wrong to start off with. But then they could also build up to it again, I guess. An original story seeing Van Helsing hunting down other vampires or monsters could make a fresh take on the character, while also paying homage to his roots against the Dracula nemesis. While it's unclear when Avery's Van Helsing reboot will be coming out, yeah, this is the biggest thing. I mean, we just don't know how long it's going to be. I would assume they haven't started shooting it yet, so it's going to be at least 2 to 3 years, I would say, in my estimation. He's continued his work on the project, means that there's still hope for it in the near future. Yeah, I don't think any time in the near future, 2 to 3 years minimum, maybe five, maybe next 5 years if we're lucky. Indication on a release date or when it's going to come out or the cast or if Hugh Jackman's going to reprise his role or anything like that. Did any of you guys see the original, Van Helsing movie when it came out? I thought it was great. If you haven't seen it, I definitely go on YouTube and look at a trailer and maybe watch the whole film. It's such a good film. It's just a vampire slayer full of monsters, Dracula, demons, and all that kind of stuff. It's a great kind of horror fantasy genre. And it's a really great movie. So, what do you guys think of these comments here by the director after 3 years of kind of stagnant progress on this movie? I'd love to hear what you think. Jump down in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next one.